So let's do. Actually, what this would be, you call it emergency response?
Yeah, so if we're doing the search and rescue, they could name it emergency response or search and rescue or whatever it happens to be.
Cool. Okay, so we would do that in this case. We've cloned the mission. The objective will be different. So we'll call it search and rescue. And then I come down here, change the workflow. It would be that one. And then hit change. So this is going to update the rest of the workflow, and it's going to add that approval step. As you can see, that button in the corner now says submit for approval instead of fly.
Yeah.
Once again, same with the pilot in command and the drone. Time and date. And okay, so with the JSA, it is pre-populated, but we do need to just basically confirm it each time. So you can see that my previous responses are in there, as is the risk. I can now change it if I need to, delete specific risk items, add more risk items, whatever the case might be, and then hit complete when I'm happy with that. And now it says done, and I can submit for approval this time. So I'll do that. And
That'll come up in my tasks.
Yeah, just because I'm a system admin, I've also got the button, so I can just walk through it from here. But yes, that would now come up in yours to actually do the approval. So you'd open the mission or do it from that notification and then hit perform approval. Okay, on the approval screen, we do have obviously the location template with anything that's been sketched in. And then over here, we've got the job safety assessment that was completed. Okay, risk assessment, details of that here. Yeah, so, okay, so you've set up this approval checklist, or we might have done that earlier on.
Yeah.
So it's just like a reminder thing for the approver. JSA is completed sufficiently, so we can check that, tick that off, and then we can so we can now remind ourselves to double check NOTAMs for that. You can also put in here message to the remote pilot. So when they open the mission up on the app, this will show up and they have to acknowledge it. You can also set, like, if Ben's put 250 feet, you're like, actually 150 is as high as I want you to fly.
Yeah.
You can just put that in there, and then they have to acknowledge that as well to proceed with the mission. And then any other conditions, right? So if you can put in any conditions you want, basically, to say you can only proceed if something. I'm drawing a blank, but you might have some reason to just kind of put conditions on that, right? And then all of that will need to be acknowledged by the pilot in the field before they start flying. Okay, if you If you are happy with that, you can just approve it. If there's like, for example, if there's a JSA, it's not very good. You could update the JSA yourself, and then that is what's going to show in the app when they look at it. Or you can just come up, if it's not too time sensitive, this whole thing, but you could come in and just add comms to the planner. And oh, I'm not happy with the JSA. Please fill out something, whatever, some other risk. Please take into account the air show that's happening at the time, or something like that, right? So send that. Now the planner is going to get a notification also in their email and in the app saying you've got a new comms, and that'll prompt them to go and make that update. And then they can come into their own window here and say, updated it. Okay. And then send it back to you. Hopefully, most of the time, you don't have to do all that back and forth. Everything's fine, and you can just hit approve. Okay. Once the approval's done, same thing as before, it's now green, ready to fly for that pilot. And we can see there that that's the case. So from the point of view of the pilot / planner, no difference, except they have to wait for an approval. If I flick back to my field app now, that's not going to show up until the approval is done. Sorry, until it is approved. Yeah, is there anything else?
I think that's all.
Too, wasn't it?
Yeah. I guess for the people when they want to edit add their documentation and stuff like that, they just go over to their profile.
Yep. Yeah. So it's a good point. Like this personnel tab won't necessarily be available to everyone. It depends on your user role whether you can edit from here, but everyone will have access to their own personal profile to add these things. So it's always up in the top right. You can see the floating button there. So I just visit my profile. Yeah, disregard that thing. Marketing preferences. So for things like RePL license, AROC, things like that, it's all under authorities. So I just click there and I can see anything that I've already got in here. But to add a new authority, it's just a matter of finding it from this list. Yeah, so if I have a RPA operator accreditation I need to add in, just click that, add authority, and then I've got my document or PDF or something, and I can just tap in the start date, expiry date, and add the attachment here. That will feed through. Like as soon as I've done that, that will start showing on your, if that was a RePL, not the accreditation, it would start showing on your ReOC register immediately. And that would potentially make me an active pilot because I've now completed my documentation. So I think if we just have a look into that. we can see there's still quite a few RePLs and AROCs missing. These first two columns. As I said, if as soon as someone uploads one of these, then the cross will turn into a tick, for that item. And as an admin, you can come in here and click on it, and you can actually view the attachment there as well and then verify that you've cited it. The verify now is just for record keeping purposes. You don't have to go through every single one and hit verify. But assuming their start and end date, assuming that they're current according to the start and end dates, then this will become a tick regardless. The ones for the manuals here, well, they've got the manuals. So the individual pilots they need to make the declaration to say I've read the manual. So that is done, and everyone can access this. In the Manage tab, you can come down to Libraries, and you can see I've got Acknowledge buttons there. So if I click on Acknowledge, it's got the little spiel there, I acknowledge that I've received the instructions, procedures, etc. And I agree to abide by these contained in this document. Then I hit Acknowledge, and that digitally signs a declaration that I've done that. And that will then, again, change that to a tick in the register. So when I've got all my documents, my required documents, and I've acknowledged the manuals, then I should become active. And you can easily just track who has and hasn't completed those steps. We probably covered this before, but if you make changes to your ops manual and then upload a new version into here, then a notification will go out to all of those pilots saying there is a new version. Please acknowledge it. Okay, and you can put notes saying, we'll jump back into here. So if we had uploaded new documents into here, and I don't want to do it because I don't want to overwrite anything, but I'd use that button, drop your file into there, and then you can actually say, if you want to, updated Appendix B, EV loss procedures, whatever it is, so that me as a pilot now, I get that email and it's like, oh, there's a new thing. If you've made these notes, then I know, okay, I don't have to read the whole thing cover to cover again. I can just go and read Appendix B and I'm up to date. And then I'll do the declaration. And one consequence of that, obviously, is that in the register, everyone who has done it and has a tick will turn to a cross as soon as there's a new version. And then to become active again, they'll need to sign it again. It won't stop them if they're in the middle of planning a mission and stuff. It's not going to, as I said, there's no hard block on any of this, but it will show up saying that you've expired off the register. It'll be red instead of green when you plan a mission until you do that. Yeah, and I think that's it. So all the pilots should need to do is upload the documents, do the declaration, and then they're good to go with the mission planning. Were you saying, did you say this weekend, I think? You were hoping to start getting people?
That was the plan, so
okay.
I'm just going to follow up to see that everyone who's going to be working this weekend is able to do that and that I can get all the apps on all the controllers.
Right. Okay. So I suppose next week, did you want to catch up again just to, if there's been any issues, or do you want to just wait and see and then we can just have another catch up to address any of those?
Yeah, that sounds good if we